What are the benefits of working from home? Well, welcome back. You're really going to like this one, especially if you're one of those people that wants to have a side hustle or you want to work at home. Now, in this episode, I'm going to be discussing your question, what are the benefits of working at home? Now, I could spend about 2 hours on this and make everybody feel pretty happy, but we'll nail it down in about 8 or 10 minutes, but you kind of get the idea. So I would say before you decide to work at home, determine exactly what you want. What are you looking for and what do you want to do? Now, most entrepreneurs, what do they want? They want to have freedom to work when they want and how they want. They also want to have freedom to create their own career and make it rewarding for them. So I completely understand that. Now, if that can be done from home, all the more power to you. Now, that sounds good working from home, but there's some good and there's some bad. Now, most of it's good. The bad part all requires discipline. Okay, now for me, it satisfies everything I want to do. I can work at home and let my people have a nice office to work in. Then you're not looking over their shoulder. They're feeling pretty good. But if you want to have a small business, then you're going to have to do it all yourself from home. So it depends upon who you're asking about this, but most people find working at home is not only a pleasure, but they get a lot more work done for an awful lot of reasons. So personally, I discovered a market that works all over the United States that I could do from home. So what are people looking for? First of all, if you're going to be a worker from home, you're going to have to create something or do something that everybody else wants. One thing I know for sure, people want to have more security in their life. They don't want to be around where there's going to be a lot of government inflation. They want to be in a business that's relatively stable. So real estate fits the bill there because most of real estate appreciates in value unless you're buying in really bad areas. But basically, the environment is pretty good working in real estate, and a large amount of the time, the market is relatively stable. So those are two good things that work for me. Now, working from home can be pretty comfortable and pretty productive. All right, but you're going to have to make it that way. Now, first production that's going to take place is, are you going to drive to the office every day and drive back? Well, that's what most people have to do, right? Well, now you're just going to commute from the breakfast table or the coffee bar and head over to your office. And that might be another bedroom, might be the attic, might be the basement. You're getting the point. So some people talk about, well, I want to work from home because I want to have a lot of tax benefits. Well, there are a certain amount of tax benefits, but I would not add those up. I don't think that they're that big a deal. Yes, you'll get a deduction. This certified public accountant will tell you about that. So in this episode, I'm going to be basically talking about a side hustle or if you want to do it full time. So I'm trying to answer the question, what are the benefits of working at home? So in my opinion, the biggest benefit is you're going to have freedom to work when you want and where you want and during the hours that you want. Now, entrepreneurs are always searching and trying to find a competitive edge. Your first competitive advantage is really going to be that you're not going to have to commute. Now, you're going to save huge money there. You won't have to pay for a car. You don't have to buy gas all the time, no insurance, whatever. So you're going to commute from home, so you're going to need certain equipment to do that. A computer, you're going to be on Zoom, you're going to have Wi-Fi and so on. But it's going to be a lot cheaper. So that's going to be your first advantage because you're going to pick up anywhere from 30 minutes to 2 hours a day, depending upon who you are, because you don't have to do that commuting. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just concentrate on the benefits, but then what I'll do is I'll integrate some of the disadvantages as we go along. So as I said a minute ago, the tax advantage is there, and certainly you want to take advantage of it, but it's not a big deal. But not commuting by automobile, that's a big deal as far as I'm concerned. Now, I know there's lots of folks that take a train, and if you can take one of those trains where they have the car where no one's allowed to talk and there's no kids and there's no nothing but people working, yeah, that's a great deal. But most public transportation, there's all kinds of people, and you can have a story a day about public transportation. So I'm going to suggest if you're going to work at home, then you make yourself comfortable, get a good desk, good chair, and be able to do your work around the house. Now, when you're around the house, everybody wants to talk to you. They're used to talking to you. Every time you're sitting down, someone comes to talk to you, whether it's the kids, whether it's mom and dad, whether it's your spouse, whatever. All right, so that's going to take some benefits away from what you really expected. Why? Because they're going to use up a lot of time. So if you're going to be a worker at home, you're going to have to establish some guidelines, okay? And your guidelines should be that when you're in your office, that's going to be sacred. In other words, it's going to be a sanctuary where you can work and people aren't going to come and talk to you, okay? All right, so you took advantage of that short commute. That's good. Now you're going to have to take advantage of saying, I need to be left alone when I'm in that office, okay? So you got that extra time. You can make telephone appointments. You can use Zoom. You can do whatever you want. All right, remembering all the time, discipline is going to be required. Why? Because if you're there, people want to talk to you, and you want to talk to them. All right, now that's good. But how are you going to produce results? All right, so it's a big disadvantage at home if you got a big loving family and they want to talk to you. So you're going to have to get established with a massive amount of discipline, and you're going to have to make a sanctuary of where you work. All right, so I won't talk a lot more about telecommuting because that's something you understand. All right, now, you're going to be able to use your computer for a lot of this? Absolutely. All right, so working from home, you're not going to be like in the office where you're searching for a place where you could read. You know, everybody in the office is talking about the football game or who's getting married or who passed away or what it was like commuting. All right, you're going to have your privacy, but you're going to have to keep it that way. It won't stay that way. So that's going to take discipline. It's going to take work. It's going to take willpower because you're going to have a job and you're going to have to finish it. Otherwise, you won't produce any results. Keeping in mind now, all the money that's going to be made, you're going to make it. So you need to stay organized, and you have to keep the family away from your office. All right, now, here's a big crisis for a lot of people. Are you a person that likes to snack? Well, if you're a little on the frustrated side at work, what do? Well, you might go to the coffee machine, or you might go take a break and walk around the office, whatever. Hopefully, you don't go to the coffee shop and start buying donuts. Well, when you're at home, it's pretty darn easy. Well, what's going to happen? Well, it's going to be an oh my God problem, right? Because you're going to be cruising for a big waistline. So you're going to have to figure out, what are you going to do in your frustrating moments? Are you going to go out and walk around up and down the street? What, you're going to do some exercise? What are you going to do? Because when you're frustrated, if you're eating, well, you're going to be a chubby little rascal, aren't you? All right, so we're talking about you could work full-time at home, you could have a side hustle at home, whatever it is that you like to do. But most businesses, they work regular business hours. So when you have regular business hours, you know how to cut people off because you want to get certain amounts of work done. Now, tons of people think when you're home, you've got nothing else to do. So you can talk to them on the phone. I call those people time vampires. Now, you had them at the office, but you could always say the boss was coming or someone would interrupt you and you could get rid of the time vampire. What you need to do is you need to tell people as soon as you pick up the phone how much time you have. All right, there's a big benefit of working from home, and that is you can get a lot of work done, but not if people are calling you and they just want to talk. All right, so give that a lot of thought. All right, now can you get all this work done? Well, in my office, I can't get it all done. So we teach everybody in the office, let's learn how to outsource. So there's certain things you can outsource, so you're going to want to do that. So you want to learn how to use Fiverr and some of those resources like that. Now, I'm not going to rattle them all off now, but you can research that. All right, so what are we talking about today? We're talking about what are the benefits of working from home. So I'm trying to give you a discussion that not only has the benefits, but also talks about some of the disadvantages. Do I recommend it? Absolutely. I think it's terrific if you can work from home. If you don't have to commute, that's 30 minutes, maybe 2 hours every single day. But however, if you spend the time on YouTube or scrolling through Facebook, it's not going to do you any good. You're going to waste a lot of time. So there's a lot of difference between working at home and working at the office. What's the lot of difference mean? It means you're going to have to be disciplined. You have to make yourself go to work. So can you stay on task? Can you start the job and then stay on the job? Or are you going to be able to handle interruptions? Now, I know myself, sometimes I get really busy, and then all of a sudden I have an interruption. It's not an hour, it's a whole day. Now, getting started again is the hard part. All right, so you're going to notice if you don't finish the job, starting over again is pretty hard. So obviously, people are going to have schedules that are different than yours. So what I do is I figure out my phone calls, and I try to get my phone calls in the afternoon because I live in the East, and I want to do a lot of work in the West. All right, so I figure that out. I do the same thing when people call me. I say, look, I got time free at these hours. And if I don't have time free, I tell them that. In other words, it's a bunch of disciplines. What we're really talking about is what are the benefits, but it has disadvantages. Anyone that knows you work at home thinks you're there and you have nothing else to do. All right, so the time vampires, you already know what to do there. So I'm just about finished up on this video. I do want to tell you, 30 years ago, I discovered a subset of the real estate business. It was called tax liens and tax deeds. Well, it turned out not just to be a side hustle, it turned out to be a full-time business. Why? Because I could buy property for 10 and 20 cents on the dollar. When I found that out, I then started looking, and what did I find out? Well, I found out that the government was selling properties for 10 cents, 20 cents, 30 cents on the dollar. So I could look at that property, and then I could look at the market, and I could instantly see a profit. Well, what other business could I get in that I could instantly see profits? So make good use of your time. When you get home, put that time to work. Don't let anybody visit with you, and discourage your family from working in your sanctuary. If you're going to go to these auctions and buy these properties, you have to do two things that are very important. The number one thing is this: you need to have boots on the ground and have looked at the property. Why? What if there was a hurricane? What if there was a fire? What if it was next to a chicken farm? Many things could happen to a property, so you want to look before you leap. Secondly, when you buy that property, before you buy it, know what your selling strategy is going to be. Are you going to try and get retail? Are you going to try and get under retail? Don't just keep bidding and bidding. Know what your selling strategy is so that you don't bid too high. Now, my name is Ted Thomas, and right below me is a free gift for you.